Hi guys, my name is Shayla and I want to introduce myself. I decided that I'm going to make a YouTube channel because as I stroll through YouTube, I notice sometimes there's people who aren't that vulnerable about things that they're going through in life. And I decided that why not be a little bit more honest about the things that we're going through and just be a little bit more upfront so that way when people are going through the same things, they know that they are not alone and they kind of know what to expect when life throws different situations at them. So with that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and be completely upfront from the beginning that this channel is going to be mostly about new motherhood because I recently found out that I am pregnant. It's such exciting news, but going through my trimesters, I've noticed that there's lots of things that have come up that I wish I would have been more prepared for. There are many things that have come my way and that has made this pregnancy not that easy that no one really talks about. And when I go to my doctor's appointments, I literally almost every time find out that there's something new that I've never even heard about. So I just kind of want to be very upfront and very authentic with my viewers, just so that way when you guys are ready to start your motherhood journey, you guys will be a little bit more prepared. So kind of some things I want to talk about. Well, first, before we start into anything, I just kind of want to let you guys know how I found out I was pregnant. So one of the first things, I actually didn't miss my period right away, or at least I didn't notice. I'm not one to necessarily track my period, and I know that's probably bad, but yeah, I used to, and it's usually very regular, so I trust that when I get it, it's on time. So I didn't notice missing my period. So first sign that I took kind of to heart, or not to heart, but the first sign that I thought was weird was TMI, but again, this channel is about being vulnerable and just being authentic. I had some weird discharge, and it was not like anything I've ever had before, so it was really weird. It was very milky in the sense, and it went on for a few days, and it was really odd. Again, I didn't even realize I missed my period, and I called my friend who is a nurse, and she actually is pregnant as well with her second, so she has more experience than I do, and I just kind of let her know what I was going through, and I explained what was happening, and she literally laughed and said, I don't know, but it sounds like maybe you should take a test. And I didn't think much of it, but I was like, okay, well, I know I have a test laying around here somewhere, so I went through all my stuff, asked my roommate, finally found a test in the house, and sat on the phone with my best friend and took the test. And as I'm sitting there staring at this test, I think to myself, it says negative. Like, I don't know if baby brain started that early on, but I just stared at it for like a good 3 minutes, at least it felt like, and I was like, no, I'm good. I'm not pregnant. It says I'm not. And then like after just like staring at it, and I was like, I don't know, is this not processing completely? I like had like a wake up moment, and I like looked at the box and then looked at the test, and I was like, that doesn't say negative. And I freaked out. And I just remember I just started immediately crying, and my best friend started laughing. And it's an interesting story. I'll tell you guys about that one later. But she basically is pregnant too, and really wanted me to get pregnant as well. And she kind of wished it upon me before even getting pregnant. And voila, we're 8 weeks apart. So that was the first sign. I started freaking out. And it's interesting because the next day that I found out that I was pregnant, all the symptoms started happening. I threw up. I was having hot flashes. My discharge continued. I was cramping, exhausted. Oh, actually, that's another thing. Before even the discharge started, I remember telling everybody, like, basically in my life, like, I have been sleeping so good, but for some reason I just feel like I haven't gotten any sleep. Like, I could sleep for 12, 13 hours throughout that night, and I wake up feeling super unrested. And so that was another thing. I remember that was like continued for like probably 8 weeks to maybe 12 weeks, but it was super bad in the first like 4 to 5 weeks. And that was so weird to me because I had never felt so tired. I literally felt like I was a zombie. So those were some things that I went through. I experienced extreme amounts of nausea, and I remember through the first 12, 13 weeks, well, actually my morning sickness lasted till week 18, but within the first, if it got better in the end, but in the first 12 weeks, I actually lost weight. I lost 18 pounds, and that was really crazy for me. I was eating, but I was also throwing up. So I was throwing up on average like 2 to 3 hours a day. And throughout the day, I like could eat, but not very much because it would just make me sick. And the only thing I craved was carbs, because that was the only thing that like really settled my stomach. So after the 18 weeks, I stopped getting sick, but then migraines hit. Migraines once a day, and certain things would start bothering me, like smells. Not like to the sense where they would like bother me where I couldn't be around them, but they were just way more noticeable. Like I remember walking down the pickle aisle and like pickles smacked me in the face, basically. Like it was really intense. I don't ever remember walking down a pickle aisle before and you can even smell the pickles through the jars, but it was literally like I was swimming in a pool of pickles. It was crazy. I also work at a hair salon, and I noticed that's one thing I couldn't handle was the smell of all the smells around me. It would instantly create a migraine for me, and I just couldn't handle it. One specific smell that I cannot be around that instantly causes a migraine, and I get nauseous as well, is the smell of burning sage. Again, I work in a hair salon, so there's many girls in the hair salon that burn sage for some reason, and I can't handle it. Like even if it's in a completely different room or like way in the back of the salon, I just get super sick. And I basically have to leave and step out until I'm back to normal and the sage is aired out. Which was weird because I typically like the smell of like natural aromas and stuff like that. So, one of the other really weird symptoms that I started getting, I want to say around 10 weeks, is my nipples. My nipples started to burn. Like they felt like someone was holding a lighter next to my nipples and that they were falling off. It was the most painful thing. I remember literally having to ice them a few times because it just hurt so bad. But other than that, that's kind of like just normal stuff. But there are a few things in there that I threw in that people don't talk about, like the burning nipples and the discharge and the hot flashes. I've never heard of anyone telling me about hot flashes. So those were a few symptoms that I got. Again, the main one was the discharge, the dead giveaway. Well, to my friend, but not to me, that I was pregnant. And so that's one thing that I went through, and it was just really difficult because I wish that I would have known all these things to be prepared for. Like I definitely knew morning sickness was a thing, but I didn't realize how severe it could actually be. There actually are some women who get morning sickness throughout their entire pregnancy. There's 1% of women who are allergic to the hormone of being pregnant, and they throw up the entire pregnancy. And I could not imagine being sick all the time, because this pregnancy has been so hard for me already that having that on top of it made it 10 times worse. So I'm so thankful that it finally stopped at 18 weeks. But I also want to tell you that there are some things that immediately when you find out you're pregnant that you must start doing. It's really important. Start reading. You don't have much time, and you want to do as much research as possible to make sure that you're prepared for your baby, and to make sure that your body is in tune with creating the baby, because again, you are the baby's home. You're the baby's safe place. You are the life source of the baby. So you want to make sure everything you're putting into your body is good for the baby, as well as everything you're doing. Just like I said, being in a salon sometimes isn't necessarily the greatest thing because there's certain smells, and so these are things that you definitely want to limit. Just doing these normal things that you would never necessarily think were harmful, but because you are creating a life, sometimes things can actually get pretty harmful. So just some things to think about. One thing I do want to touch on is sex during pregnancy. I personally, in the first trimester, I was very, like I wanted it, even though I was sick. I was like, but and so I would say just kind of listen to yourself. If you want it, go for it. But there comes a certain point in your pregnancy where it's uncomfortable. It's hard to do. You can't do as much as you normally would do. So you just kind of have to keep in mind of what your body's telling you, and also what's safe for your baby. Also, in one of my next videos, I'll talk about the fact that I had placenta previa. It's that was something very scary that I had to go through, and my doctor actually told me that I had to limit my working out, and I had to limit the amount of sex I had, and even kind of like not like have like really soft sex. So these are things that, like I said, every pregnancy is different. So just make sure you really talk to your doctor and just get the right amount of knowledge of what your pregnancy is putting your body through, because sometimes it's hard to listen to the signs because you're like, oh, technically I feel okay, but maybe not everything's okay. So with that, just really listen to your doctor. Make sure you trust yourself. And if you feel like something could be a little bit wrong, but you're not sure, call your doctor. That's what they're there for. And honestly, they might not enjoy you calling them all the time, but if it's going to help you and your baby have a peace of mind and help your baby grow perfectly, call your doctor. Another thing is prenatals right away. I noticed that the prenatals that I got prescribed from my doctor did not offer or did not have DHA in it and did not have calcium in it. So I immediately bought calcium supplements and DHA supplements. It does have folic acid. That's another one that's really important to make sure you do have in your prenatals. But just really read the label on the back, because you want to make sure you're getting all the amount of nutrients possible to make sure every aspect of your baby's body is growing properly. So I take 1,000 milligrams of calcium a day, DHA pill, and a prenatal pill. Whew, I'm talking fast, and I get really out of breath because this baby is getting heavy, so I apologize. But again, immediately, or another thing you want to immediately do when you find out you're pregnant is start oiling up your body and your lady parts. I've done a lot of research on this, and even though you might not think you're growing yet, the more elastic you make your skin beforehand, the better off it's going to be. And same with your girl parts. I mean, not necessarily elastic, actually. I would use olive oil or coconut oil down there. It kind of just helps soften the tissue around there, so that way it helps spread more, basically. So it prepares you more for birth. And you just would rather be safe than sorry. So I would definitely suggest doing that. And another thing is too, again, my doctor told me I have to calm down on the exercise. I'm starting to get back more into it, but I just really have to listen to my body. But there are so many great benefits for exercising. It helps for an easier labor, it boosts your baby's IQ, and it helps give you endorphins, which is amazing. I think the IQ thing is really cool, because there's already things that you can choose to do in your pregnancy that basically help your baby become smarter just coming out. So that's really cool. So the more things that you can research, the more things you can find out, create a more comfortable environment and situation for you while in the pregnancy stages. And it just kind of allows you to make those educated decisions beforehand, as well as being more prepared for when certain things do happen. You know, hey, I've heard about this before. I might not be the only one, and I'm not going through it alone. So I just kind of wanted to touch bases with you guys and again introduce myself. My name is Shayla, and look out for me. I'm also on Instagram on Tell the Truth Mama. And just look out for more of my videos, because there's going to be lots of things that I am going to be very vulnerable about moving forward, as well as on my page as well. And then I would love, once baby is here, to kind of go in depth of first-time moms, like some difficulties of first-time moms, having to learn how to be a mom, things that are difficult to grasp in breastfeeding and adapting and sleeping habits and all those things. So as I learn, I want to help you guys learn as well. So definitely subscribe to my channel. Thanks, guys.